Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I am Petter, and today I'm going to be discussing the Vision Show. So, I'm going to refer to it as the Vision Show. I know a lot of people, a lot of places refer to it as Vision Quest. I don't think that we really know what the title of this show is going to be yet. Vision Quest, I think, is very possible. A good kind of double meeting there, obviously. Or maybe not, obviously. But if it is Vision Quest, this is very much White Vision's quest to become kind of more human again. He is looking for something to understand what he truly is. And I think there's definitely more that has popped up recently around the Vision show that makes it seem really likely. So, Jarvis is rumored to be back. We're rumored to be getting a human version. And I say human version, I mean synthezoid version of Friday, EDITH, and Jocasta. Now, two of those should seem familiar to you. Jocasta maybe less so. Jocasta is, and I'll talk about all of them, but Jocasta is basically another synthezoid who, in the comics, has teamed up with Ultron, who Ultron's supposed to also be in the Vision show. James Spader returning to do the voice for that. And then she kind of turns on Ultron, or does her own thing at some point, where she's not necessarily so much aligned with a quote-unquote like evil character. Friday and EDITH. So EDITH is the glasses AI system that Tom Holland's Spider-Man uses in Spider-Man Far From Home. And then Friday is the AI system that Tony Stark uses after Jarvis and after Vision is created. And I think this starts to form some sort of an idea for the show. Greg and I talked about it on this week's 10-Minute Marvel podcast. You can check that out. I'll let you know how at the end of the video, though I think most of you can figure out how. But it does beg, okay, where or how is this series going? And I think all these different synthezoid human versions of these characters, as well as, I mean, we've had rumors of casting for Vin and Vision. I think that this is going to really be that Vision quest of Vision looking for a way to become more human again. He has all the memories from the Vision inside the Hex, and he's going to be trying to recreate that. But I think that there's going to be this disconnect of Vision being less human than he wants to be. He's going through the motions of being human, but he understands that there's something that he is missing, and he's going to try and explore this idea with creating his own family, but also potentially with interacting with these other synthezoid versions, these different AIs, to fully understand what it means to be human. Or it could be a situation where Vision is working on these systems and creating these synthezoids to try and make another human synthezoid, to see if he can kind of calculate out what the problem is with him, so to speak, to understand greater going on. Now, I think that could be interesting because you have Ultron in there as well. Does Vision accidentally recreate Ultron or find a version of Ultron, have a version of Ultron hidden away somewhere, know that there does exist one somewhere? I think that he could reach out kind of that direction first. And that could be really interesting because, or not necessarily even first, but very soon on, because I think there's ways for Ultron then to kind of be the villain of this piece, to corrupt Vin, possibly, as a character. And that could create kind of some nice tension. And, I mean, if you've read the Vision comic, the Visions, the one about kind of Vision's family, you know that Vin basically gets taken out, gets killed. I'm trying to remember all of this off the top of my head, but that and Vision's wife, things don't go well for them in it. And I think that could be a really interesting moment where Vision is trying to construct everything. He's trying to build everything very logically, very much going down a pathway, and then to have at the end of this feeling of and connection of real emotion to the death of Vin and anger towards Ultron or Ultron's AI really messing with Vin, to finally break through, not by these really technical creations that he can do, but instead these more human moments. And beyond that, I think that there's some interesting additional elements that they can work with too, because I think as fans we probably expect or suspect that they're going to try and bring in something with Tommy. Now, I'm not 100% sold on this being a major piece of this series. I think it could very well be kind of an end piece to this series, maybe even setting up a Scarlet Witch movie or starting to build towards that, where this takes very much or similar timeline, or I'm going to say similar timeline, but right after the events of Agatha all along. And so Tommy has just kind of been created, so to speak. He has found his body. But instead of kind of what we saw with Wiccan, Speed is going to go out and search for Vision and maybe find Vision at the end, or find Viv and realize like what Viv is. Granted, if they go with a comic look for Viv, everybody knows what Viv is. But to really have that kind of end moment of we get Vision back, and Vision recognizes Tommy as his son, recognizes that Tommy is in there, recognizes him as his son, and kind of takes him in, not as a replacement for Vin, but as he couldn't protect Vin as his son first, but now he's going to try and do right and protect Tommy. That, to me, I think is a good way to bring Tommy into it without it being a story where we're adding in too many moving parts, especially with all the Synthezoid characters. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think there's any comic book storylines that they're going to be pulling from for this Vision show? Or do you think that this is mainly going to be a fairly original story and idea? Let me know that down in the comments section below. If you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up. And like I said, I was going to tell you how to find the podcast here. First off, you can find it here on YouTube. Click onto the channel, subscribe, and click that notification bell if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has and who's checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab. Or you can search for 10-Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. But with that, we'll see you next time.